So therefore, in the Mishkan itself, he was an out of body. He was like in an extraterrestrial world. But building the Mishkan is not constructed yet. So how can you be Mechala Shabbos? Once you're in the Mishkan, you're an out of body experience. You have an otherworldly experience. It's like the American embassy located in Jerusalem. Is it the American territory or is it Jerusalem? The Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan, was an embassy of Gan Eden.
As of today,
it's an embassy of Gan Eden.
As of today, it's no longer the Palestinian. As of today.
So even though the Mishkan, even though the Mishkan basically was located on planet Earth, it was an embassy of Olam Haba. Olam Haba, someone in Olam Haba is potter for mitzvot. So the Kohen wore shatnez, and he burned incense, he lit the menorah on Shabbos. But constructing the Mishkan, you didn't make the Olam Haba, you didn't make the virtual Olam Haba yet. How could you work the Mishkan on Shabbos? You're not allowed to. Once you're in Olam Haba, you'll put the mitzvahs. But you have to. But to construct Olam Haba, virtual Gan Eden, that's not Doicha Shabbos. Thank you. You hear my explanation? No.
Once you're in
once you're in there, once the Kohen is in Olam Haba, then he's put for mitzvahs. Because he's like in the embassy of Gan Eden. The Italian embassy in Washington, is it, who's it belong to? Italy, right? Not Washington. You didn't hear my svara. So therefore, when you're in the Kohen, in the Mishkan and Shabbos, he was like in Olam Haba. So therefore, he was put in mitzvah. But constructing the Mishkan, you didn't make the virtual Gan Eden yet. So how could you work on Shabbos? You have to put the Mishkan together. It's not finished yet. So it's not there. So how can you be Mechala Shabbos? Hear my difference. Give it over, please.
Before it's completed, the Mishkan is not there. That's kind of.
But my point is the virtual Gan Eden. You can't construct the virtual Gan Eden on Shabbos. You're not allowed to build.
Right.
Once it's built and you're in there, then you're an out-of-body experience. But if you didn't construct it yet, how can you build a Mishkan on Shabbos? You're not allowed to build.
That's why it says in Mashvat Hashem. Otherwise, tell me what is the meaning of Mashvat Hashem.
Okay, you can't. The question is why.
The
question is why. Why are you allowed to light a fire in the Mishkan?
Good morning. Because as you said, you're no longer Chater for mitzvahs.
Because you are.
You don't keep Shabbos.
Because you make a Chetah.
All right. Okay. I want to show you where Gan Eden and Gehenna are found in the Torah. Page 10. Wonder how you translate. It's Bereshit. You have a good book? You want to? It's Bereshit 3, verse 24. Bereshit 3:24.
Having driven out the man and stationed at the garden of Eden with Cherubim, and the flame of the ever-turning sword.
The flame what?
The flame of the ever-turning sword to guard the way to the tree of life.
So here you had Gan Eden, and the Lat HaCheref is Gehenna, the flaming sword. So here you have in the pasuk it mentions Gan Eden, and it mentions the opposite Lat HaCheref. Lat HaCheref is a symbol of Gehenna.
I really don't understand that sentence. Let's go through the sentence. Let's go through it slowly.
Okay, slowly.
Guard the way to what does the tree of life do the Garden of Eden?
Lishma derech etz hachayim.
24.
Rashi doesn't say anything, right?
Garish.
What does Rashi say? Cheref hamisapechet. Rashi says the flaming sword, right, to prevent them from entering Gan Eden. You hear? When a Rasha dies, he wants to go to Gan Eden. He's prevented. He has to go where the flaming sword is. What's the flaming sword? Hell, Gehenna. You hear?
No, I don't understand.
Well, you don't understand.
How does it stop him from coming
Huh?
in. So
Lot
how do you stop a dead body from coming in?
Not that body, and the neshama. The neshama wants to go in, and
The Kruvim stop them.
the kruvim. The
Send you
kruvim, lot
where did
acheret.
they send you? Go down the road?
So lot, yeah. Lot acheret is a symbol of Gehenna. Do they explain anything there? Flaming sword?
All talks about as a cherubim.
Don't say about the flaming sword, nothing?
No,
Nada?
no.
Let's see, Arya Kaplan, what would he would say?
Children can become holy or destructive depending how they were. It just talks about
What's it, Genesis what?
3:23.
324. 324.
The Midrash says that Gehenna was created in the second day.
He drove away the man and stationed the cherubim at the east of Eden along with the revolving, flaming sword to guard the path of the tree of life. He quotes Rashi that the cherubim are angels of destruction. Man is told that he must eventually die and is banished from paradise. He can only return to paradise after death. But before doing so, he must pass by these angels of hell. Rabbi Bachya says that in this pasuk you have the concept of Gan Eden and Gehenna. This is the pasuk.
So that's why I didn't understand it, because it doesn't make any sense by itself.
It's not just talking about the first human couple, otherwise it wouldn't be what? In here. It's talking to each and every human being. After we die, we can go back to Gan Eden, but before we do, if we don't do tshuva, we must first pass by these angels of hell to clean ourselves.
Why does the way to the tree of life have to be guarded?
Eitz HaChaim, what's the tree of life? Eternal life. Because a person cannot go to eternal life unless he's first what?
Cleansed.
Root canal. So this is the pasuk about heaven and hell. Rabbeinu Bachya explains it like that. Amazing.
And it looks like it's just like a throwaway pasuk. You don't really understand it. Doesn't seem to make
Okay,
any
it's good
sense.
thing you came today. Rabbeinu Bachya, some say bechai, some say tomato, some say tomato. But Rabbeinu Bachya says that this is the pasuk.
Let's look at it
Somebody's
again.
got to fix the kumkum. It's going to short out.
So man must die. He can only return to Gan Eden after death. But before doing so, he must pass by these angels of hell. To get back to Eitz HaChaim, which is eternal life.
There's too much water in it. I just turned off the machine. I didn't turn off anything else.
Because it's all steamy right here.
Yeah.
This is and those senior position.
It's not good for electric to get too steamy. Electric and steam don't mix together.
A flaming sword. A flaming sword is a symbol of what? Of
You have
Gehenna.
a flaming sword there.
A flaming sword. They have to say flaming sword? Rabbi Yaakov Goldman, what do you have?
Here
324.
it's ever-turning sword.
Not flaming?
It says the flame of
What?
the ever-turning sword.
Flaming sword.
It says the flame of the ever-turning sword.
Why flaming? Why couldn't it just be a
That's
sword?
Gehenna.
But why flaming? Why couldn't it just be a sword? It's scarier.
Because the hell is a symbol of fire.
Fire, hell is hot.
Fire, hell, right? Flame. So this is the apostle. Wow.
Hotter than Gehenna.
So we came from a Gan Eden. After we die, we go back. But first we got to get cleansed. So why am I bringing this up? Because it's the Pasha of the week, Rachmiel. It's the Pasha of the week. Let's go there. Can we go there? Let's go there. Why am I bringing it up? I'm glad you asked. Because it's the Pasha of the week. It's the Pasha of the week. You heard what I said, Rachmiel? It's the Pasha of the week.
Parsha Pasak.
Right? Shabbos Chazak. Chazak is Chazak. 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 It's the Pasha of the week. Where's the Pasha of the week? Where? Where do you ask?
J. Check the D.
Actually, it's last week's parsha. Close? Last week's parsha. Usually they go together. Page 299. They usually go together. No, Rachmiel, happy? They usually go together, right? They usually go together, right? Pasuk
And
Zion.
when they go together, it's the longest.
The bottom of
When they go
299,
together,
right?
it's the longest part.
Okay. 299 Zion on the bottom of the page, right? 299 Zion.
Yes. Yes, make room.
What did it say there?
Yes,
He
make
made two
room.
cherubs of gold.
Oh, yeah, the two Keruvim.
Hammer did he make them from the two ends of the cover?
Keruv echad mikotza mezeh, v'keruv echad mikotza mezeh, min hakaporet, also it's a keruvim. Pasuk tet, on top of 300. Vaya, again with the keruvim. Those are the same keruvim you find where in Genesis 3. The same keruvim. Vaya keruvim parsek kanafayim lomala. The keruvim, they spread their wings what? On high. Sochachim bekanfeim.
Well, except that...
How do they translate verse 9? Verse
say
9.
The cherubs were with
What?
wings. The cherubs were with wings spread upward, sheltering the cover with their
Sheltering
wings.
what?
Sheltering the cover with their wings.
Sheltering the cover with their wings.
Right, with their faces toward one another, toward the cover with the faces of the cherubs. Or you say it's the same cherubs, but those were live angels, and these are
But
dead.
these represent.
These are dead.
No, they
these are
moved.
gold.
The Gemara Babasa says that they moved without the batteries. When the Jews were doing the will of God, they were what?
Looking at
Lovey-dovey. Lovey-dovey. Embraced. And when not, they were turned away. These Keruvim.
Yeshua was overflowing.
Yeah, I already found out about it.
So they turned it down, so it shows up.
But the next,
Oh, it was in the boil.
with
The boil was
Cora,
long.
with Cora,
They filled it up.
close,
Oh, yeah.
room.
Now, the holiest place in the universe where God speaks to man is from where?
From this,
Page 252.
from this cup.
Page 252, Pasuk of Bet. Look what God tells holy Moses. 252 Chav Bet.
Tati,
V'nayaditi l'cha sham. What does that mean? Unkala says, I will meet with you there. Where's there? V'dibarti itchon, I will speak with you. Me'ala kapores. From the top of the ark cover. Mi'bein shnei akruvim. From between these two kruvim. Asher Aron Edus, which is on top of the ark of the testimony. All that I command you for the Jewish people. How do they translate that in English? 25:22, Rabbi Yaakov.
There I will meet with you.
Meet with you.
Meet with you. I will talk with you from above the cover, from between the two cherubim, which are upon the ark of the testimony, of all things which I will give
Who's he
the
talking
people
about?
of Israel.
So the holiest place in the world, right?
He's talking to Moshe?
Who else is he talking to? Right?
The Kerubim were in there, so.
No, the Keruvim were on top of the ark,
Yeah.
located in the Mishkan.
That's one special phone booth.
That's a local call. A local call.
Oh, this is the Midbar.
This is the Mishkan. This is the, right? Yeah.
And the Midbar.
In the Midbar. I know what's bothering Rechmiel. I know what's bothering him. The man must have ESP. I'm not joking. I'm just going to say this. what is a Mishkan doing in Shmutz La'aretz? I'm confused. Look at the Shirat Hayam. Camille, we must be on the same wavelength. What are you building a Mishkan in Shmutz La'aretz for? Look what the Jews sing at Shirat Hayam. Rachmil, your kasha is actually asked by the Vilna Gaon. He says, I'm confused. Let's go to the Shirat Hayam. Can we go there? Wasn't that long ago. We're going to read it soon again. Comes Pesach time before you know it. I don't want to scare you. Look what they say at the Shirat Hayam. Where all the Jews became prophets like Yecheskel ben Buzi. What the Jews saw on the Yam of Shivcha saw more than Yecheskel, the great prophet. And look what the Jews say. Let's go to page 212. 212, Pasuk 17. Exodus 15:17. In the year 1517. Aviyazzi, with me or against me?
Yes.
I'll wait. Exodus 15:17.
You will bring them and implant them on the mounts of your heritage.
Who's them? Us.
The foundation of your dwelling place that you, Hashem, have made, the sanctuary, my Lord, that your hands established.
So where's the sanctuary of God? Where? Bahar Nachlascha. Where's Har Nachlascha? In the Midbar, in Shmutz La'aretz. Here, Har Tzion. So Rachmil is asking, I don't know what's bothering him, the Vilna Gaon's kasha. Why did we build a Mishkan in Shmutz La'aretz? It says here clearly that the Mikdash belongs where, Rabbi Yezer? Bahar Nachlascha. What does that mean, Bahar Nachlascha? In the mountain of your inheritance. What's God's inheritance? Mount Zion.
This Mount Zion.
Well, this is the greater Har Tzion, right? Har Tzion is actually Temple Mount, right? So the Vilna Gaon is asking Rachmiel's question, why did we build a Mishkan in Shmutz La'aretz when the Mishkan clearly should be Bahar Nachlascha?
As an example.
Bahar Nachlascha.
As an example.
What does that mean? You will
know how to build it.
you will bring him and plant him. Doesn't say them. They say them, right?
It says them.
Them. But the Hebrew says him. Who is him? Am Yisrael. You will bring him and plant him in your mountain of the heritage. Machain l'shiftecha. Machain meir. No, I mean Machain nepua. I mean Machain Rani. What does Machain mean? What do they say?
Place?
A place?
Dwelling place.
A dwelling place. Pa'alta Hashem. God, you made it, right? Migdash Hashem. What does Migdash Hashem mean? The sanctuary of God, Koinu Yedecha, your hands have what? Established it.
It's a Mikdash Me'at. It's a Mikdash Me'at.
So the question that Vilna Gaon is asking, why did we build a Mishkan in the Midbar?
There is a connection between the Mishkan and Am Yisrael, Shechanti Betocham.
Right, but it should have been in Hanach Lascha.
If he is within us, so we can prepare a place where he could...
But it should have been in Pisgav Zev. I mean in Har Tzion, not in the Midbar. That's the Vilna Gaon's question.
What about Bet HaMikdash shebevavel? Bet HaMikdash Me'at shebevavel.
Beis HaMikdash is only in Eretz Yisrael. Migdash Hashem, Koinu Yedecha, B'Hanach Lascha.
Each Bet HaKnesset is a Bet HaMikdash.
That's a Migdash Ma'at. But we're talking about the actual Migdash belongs in Har Nachlascha. So Vilna Gaon answers, yes, that's plan A. But once the Jews build a golden calf in the Midbar,
No.
now we have to build the golden Mishkan in the Midbar.
No.
Yes,
No.
the Jews wouldn't have built the golden calf in the Midbar. We would have built the Mishkan. We would have waited to build the Mishkan of the Migdash. Hanach Lascha. But once we sinned with the golden calf in the Midbar, God says we can't wait.
What does it say?
You sinned in the Midbar with gold. Now plan B, we can't wait till we get to the holy mountain.
Doesn't
Now the place where you sin is a place where you have to do the tikkun. See how it all comes together? And therefore, God says we're going to plan B. Therefore, plan A was we should have waited till we got to Hanach Lascha.
Doesn't it speak also in Terumah, the Mishkan?
Yes, so.
Terumah was before.
Who says? Depends. Ain't Migdal Mucha B'Torah, remember?
Nachmanides said.
Right, but ain't Migdal Mucha B'Torah.
Well, not everybody
Right?
agrees.
Okay, but this is the Vilna Gaon's take on it. how otherwise you have a problem, because the Torah says clearly that the Mikdash only belongs Bahar Nachlascha. They would say mountain of your inheritance. How do they translate that?
Yes.
Mountain.
You will bring them and implant them on the mount of your heritage.
That's heritage, right? A heritage?
Yes.
So that's where the Mikdash belongs. So he says, yes. Right? But why build it in the middle? So he said, since we sinned with the golden calf in the midbar, now we have to do the tikkun where you sinned.
Sir,
You the Vilna Gaon?
you have I can take the phone if you want to switch out. Oh, no, my phone. I thought you needed the charger.
Although you don't see a Stira Yehuda. It says here that the Mikdash only belongs in the Holy Mountain.
Well, they had to get to the Holy Mountain. They were in the desert and they were rolling in for 40 years.
So why are you singing that you only build the Mikdash in the Holy Mountain?
Well, the tabernacle was what they used in the desert.
But why? It doesn't belong there. So this
They don't belong in the desert either, but
No,
they
they
had
had to go to the desert to get the Torah.
so
But
for
this is the
40
Vilna Gaon's take on it.
So 40 years they were in the desert with the
Right? If there was no Egel, we wouldn't be in the desert 40 years. And we'd come right to Pisgat Zev and build the Mikdash there.
Right.
I mean, in the heart of Mahanach
That's where
Laspa.
we got the temporary one.
So, but this is the Vilna Gaon's point that
But it ended
where
up-
you sin
ended up
is where you
lasting-
make the tikkun.
It ended up lasting for a lot more than 40 years. They didn't build anything until they got to Shiloh, where the first time they built the temple.
No,
They used it
the
till
temple wasn't built until Solomon built the temple.
But there
Before
was a-
Shiloh, there was Gilgal.
In
There was-
Shiloh, they had a temporary thing too.
They had a Mishkan.
It wasn't the same Mishkan. They built
But
a
it's
big
still called a
outdoor-
Mishkan.
They built a big outdoor thing.
But it's still called a Mishkan. Mishkan Shiloh, Mishkan Gilgal,
Yeah,
Mishkan
Mishkan.
No. But the point the Vilna Gaon is making is that the only reason that we built a Mishkan in the desert is because we sinned with gold in the desert.
Because they were set up.
That's okay. But this is the point, because again, it fits in where you sin is where you win. The way you sin and where you sin, that's why you have to make the tikkun. The place where you sin, that's the place where you make your tikkun. Interesting, no?
Without Brit Alev, we can't reach anything.
And how do you make a tikkun?
Where you sin is where,
You do it right the second time.
where you win is where.
You do it properly according to God. Like if you sit with a woman and when you marry her, that's how you fix that tikkun. That's how you fix that tikkun. Hear me? Hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. That's how you fix the tikkun. That's the tikkun.
I sent out
From the beginning of
So Yehuda, you want to go visit Yehuda Baron today?
I'm not sure.
No? After?
Let's see.
I
From
sent
the
out that letter
beginning,
Yeah.
Abraham Arishon,
tracking
Right.
if there will be no Brit Alev,
If there would be no what?
Brit Alev,
What do you Brit Alev?
Because
it
it's
changes the
tracking
nature
all
of
the way
man.
out. We're tracking our logic.
It's impossible for us
Yeah.
to fulfill
You have to spend, you have to
the request of God completely.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the history of ours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the Vilna Gaon asked the question here. Here it says that God will build a Mikdash, then he tells us to build a Mikdash. Seems to be a little confusion who builds it, right? Here it says, your hand, Mikdash Hashem Koine Yodecha.
It's like the menorah.
Koine Yodecha, your hand or hands? How do you translate that? In 17. The last 4 words in 17.
Your hands established.
Whose hands? Capital Y,
My-
no?
No, yes. Capital
Hands
Y.
or hand?
Capital Y. Your hands.
God's hands, so to speak.
Hand or hands?
Yadayim.
Rashi makes an amazing comment over here. Rashi makes an amazing comment on 212, the top Rashi in the left column. Chaved Bet HaMikdash. Look how beloved the holy temple is. See Rashi on 212? The left on top. Chaved Bet HaMikdash. Yeah, you can. Yes, you have it in the. You have the. You ain't got here. You want here?
I think it might be.
Here,
Is this
here.
it?
An amazing Rashi here on page 212. In the left column on top.
Okay.
Chavit Bet HaMikdash. Look how beloved the holy temple is. Sha'olam nivra b'yad achat.
It.
That God created the universe, so to speak, with one hand. Shenemar, he tells Isaiah, Af Yodi, also my hand, Yos the Eretz. My hand established the universe. So when it comes to building the universe, God tells Isaiah, I used what, so to speak, what?
One hand.
Yodi. Umigdash b'shtei yadayim.
Oh.
Took me too.
And to build a Migdash, it took God Kaviyachol 2 hands.
And to get out of Egypt by Etzba.
Umigdash b'shtei yadayim. The angel Sayibona, so Rashi wonders, so when will God build? So here Rashi wants to reconcile. If God builds it, what Osuli Migdash? God says, you build me the temple. Here he says he does it. I'm confused. So Rashi says, don't be confused. The angel Sayibona b'shtei yadayim. When will God build the Migdash with 2 hands? When? Bizman Shashem Yimlach Lailam Va'ed. La'asid Lavai. Shekalam Lucha Shalai. Also, the Migdash, that's talking about the Mishkan and the first 2 temples. That we have to build. When God says he builds it with 2 hands, what's he referring to, Abiezer?
Mishkan.
No. La'asid Lavai. How do you say La'asid Lavai? In the Messianic era.
Oh.
In the Messianic era, when the entire world recognizes his sovereignty, then God will build the Migdash with 2 hands, Kaviyachol. So it's not a contradiction, Abiezer. See, what's bothering Rashi is, here he says he builds it. In Truma he says we build it. Make up your mind. So he says, no, the Mishkan, the first 2 temples, we got to build. When God is speaking over here that he builds it with 2 hands, he's speaking in Bayis Shlishi. Shashem Yimlach Lailam Va'ed. When God will reign forever. When the entire world will recognize his sovereignty and unity. Then he will build it, Kaviyachol, with 2 hands. You got the whole world in your hands. Rashi reconciles.
I thought you heard another book.
Who?
You heard another.
No, good thing you came today. Again, but the Rambam holds that we build the 3rd temple. Huh? So anyway, so Rashi follows his Shita together with the Baal Tosfot, that the 3rd temple be completely built as it says here. But the Rambam holds that no, that even the 3rd temple will be built by what? Human hands. So comes along the Vilna Gaon to what? To the rescue. He says that the Beis HaMikdash, there's a heavenly temple and there's an earthly temple. Rashi says it right here. Rashi says right over here, Mochel L'Shiftecha. Rashi on the right column on the bottom, Migdash Shalmata, V'chuvan Keneged Kiseh Shalmalo. Rashi says that the physical building is underneath directly the heavenly temple. A human being is made up of body and soul, right? The holy temple is made up of body and soul. So Vilna Gaon says beautifully, who creates a human being?
3 persons, 3 entities.
Mom, dad.
Mom, dad, and the big boss. Mom, dad create the physical body of the human. And the big boss creates the soul. He says this is a dugma. For what? For the 3rd temple. How the Holy Gra makes shalom between what? In one corner, the Holy Rambam, that we build the 3rd temple. In the next corner, Rashi and Tosfot, that he builds it. Nishkat stira, it's like a human being, says the Holy Vilna Gaon. Gemara Nida 31 says that a human being is built by 3 partners. Father and a mother, the father, the mother, they build the physical human being. They supply the body. So that's us supplying the physical building. And the heavenly temple, the soul of the temple, like the soul of a human being, will be created by the big boss. You see how there's no contradiction. When 2 rabbis disagree, they're both right. Comes the Vilna Gaon to the rescue, Rachmiel. So Mishkan Stira. Migdash Hashem Koine Yedecha, that's talking about the heavenly temple, the soul of the Migdash. But the physical building, like the body of a person, that has to be made by what? By human hands. Versteh. Very interesting.
But the human hands were created by God.
Okay? You're right. That's pretty amazing, right? Very interesting. So Asid Lava Shekalam when the whole world recognizes it's Hashem Yimach La'olam Va'ed. Okay. Any questions, comments?
So, Baratid Lavo,
Yes.
there will be nevertheless two temples.
Why two temples?
One here and one there.
No, they merge. That's
They will merge.
they will merge.
Okay.
They will merge like Tchiyat HaMesim. This is the Dugma Tchiyat HaMesim when the soul and the body will bat. Reunited and it feels so good. Tchiyat HaMesim, resurrection of the dead, where body and soul will what? Reunite, and that symbolized when the heavenly temple and the human temple, they want come together.
I have a question.
That's a symbol of their physical resurrection.
Okay.
Where the heavenly godly temple and the earthly physical temple will what?
Merge.
Merge. That's the symbol of Tchiyat HaMeitim, resurrection of the dead. Yes?
Okay, so as you taught us, the one parsha is connected to the next one.
Right.
We finish Pekudi and we start.
Finish Bikudei. Look how Bikudei ends.
Ends at the.
The Bikudei ends on page 310.
The cloud was there. And
The cloud of God
it's,
was on the Mishkan during the day, and the Aish and the pillar of fire at night. Ein kol beis Yisrael b'chol ma'aseyem. All of their journeys. So we said yesterday, profound thought that even when a Jew is on vacation, he still has to be what? I'm a traveling man.
He's still on call.
Maybe still on, right?
A Jew's on call 24 hours a day.
24/7. Even when you're on vacation, you have to be
You have to
moving
find-
onwards and upwards.
You have to find a meaning.
And this is
So-
Vayikra El Moshe.
Just a second, Maya, let me ask the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question is that it appears that God now gives him these instructions about the offerings now here in the Mishkan.
Right.
What happened on Mount Sinai? I thought we got everything on Mount Sinai. Why is he suddenly giving him new instructions now?
Vayikra El Moshe. He called to Moshe,
Starts giving him new instructions.
and he's in the oil moed, and he tells him what?
One of our principles is that everything was given to Moses.
You're asking a very good question.
So that's
You know what he's asking? Didn't God give him the whole Torah when on the 40 days? So how come he repeats over here,
this-
right? He repeats over here, he calls him into the Mishkan, and he tells him the whole parsha of what? Of a Karbanot, right? Didn't he get everything in Har Sinai?
That's the general rule. That everything-
Right.
Everything was on Mount Sinai. So what's all this?
So why is all what?
I heard.
You hear the question he's asking?
Yes, but we heard together
Yeah.
an example for this, if I remember well. There is
Yeah.
an architect who has got the plan,
Okay.
and then there is the worker.
That's what he was talking about.
I know.
He was talking about these.
Yeah,
things.
but you can apply to this. It's the same. The idea is the same. One thing is the idea, and one thing is in practice how you establish it.
All right, so
Rashi deals with your question. I tell you all the answers to everything I wear. I know where to look. Rashi deals with your great question, but you have to impress your wife. I'm telling you, you have to impress her. You have to say, sweetheart, I asked Rashi's kasha today. He's asking a great question.
I'm laughing for another reason.
Why did God have to call him into the He told him everything during the 40 days. So why is he calling him for a review? So Rashi deals with your question, Yehuda. You're not writing it down. You write down this. Page 281. Page 281. Pasuk Yud Ches. 281 Yud Ches. Hayitel El Moshe. He gave the Torah to Moshe.
just a second.
281 Yud Ches.
So
Anybody
Shemot?
want to read that in English?
Shemot.
It's Exodus 31:18. You want to read that slowly? If you don't mind. He gave it to Moshe. He gave to Moshe, no?
When he finished speaking to him on Mount Sinai, he gave Moses the 2 tablets of testimony, stone tablets inscribed by the finger of God.
Okay, now, Vayitin al Moshe. He gave to Moshe Kechalos Saladabayita when he made an end of speaking to him, right? That's kichaloto. He made an end of speaking to him. Is that how the English translates it? Yes, no?
Yes, when he finished speaking.
When he finished speaking to him, right? Okay. So Rashi says, kichaloto. Rashi said it's spelled a little bit funny here. Kichaloto ksiv, choser. It's written missing a yud.
Just a second.
Kichaloto. Kichaloto should have a yud there, Aviezer. Did Moses' pen run out of ink? No. Why did God tell him to write it choser? How do you say choser in English? Sure. Missing, lacking a yud. Kichaloto, when he made an end of speaking, there should be a yud there. Lamid yud. But it ain't got no yud. You hear what's bothering Rashi, Aviezer? Kichaloto ksiv.
Oh, I see.
Rashi on the left column, second line from the top. You're not looking into Rashi there. Second line from the kichaloto. Second line from the top. See Rashi? Kichaloto ksiv choser. What does choser mean? It's lacking. It's missing a yud. Why? Because the word chaloso without a yud is a kala. Die. God gave Moshe the Torah as a chosan gives his kala a matana. Doesn't the chosan give the kala a diamond ring? So, no? Wedding ring? Whatever he gives. He gives something, a gold watch. Something, right? Well, he gives her something, right? So God gave Moshe the Torah a matana, because Kaviyachol God is the chosan, and we are the kala. He gave us the Torah by matana like a chosan gives the kala. Why? It was impossible for him to learn the entire Torah in 40 days. It's just impossible. It's just him. Big Perry Coleman, huh? It was impossible for him to learn the entire Torah in such a short time. So he gave it to him as what? As a present. So then he has to call him later. He has to call him later where? Tent of meeting. Now it's Miller time. I gave you the present, but now let's learn. Now we have to review it. So Rashi deals with your great question, Yehuda. Rashi deals with your great question. It's impossible to learn the entire Torah in this man muad kazeh, in such a short time. So therefore he needed the oil moed, as the Ramban calls the oil moed, was a portable harsina. A review course, a refresher. Wow. That's why it's written lacking a yud. That God gave the Moshe a matana like a chosan gives the kala. Maybe that's the source where a chosan gives a matana to the kala. But doesn't the kala buy him a gold watch? No? Sometimes, huh?
I got it from my mother.
This answer, Yehudi, a very good Tekasha. Rashi deals with your question on page 281. Kechaloto.
So this applies to everything else also, not only to Korbanot.
No, everything, that's right. Therefore, you have the whole books later on where God speaks to him in Old Palm, in Oil Moed, the tent of meeting.
I thought there was a period of time that God left him in the tent and he wasn't speaking to him for a few years.
Oh, so he opened up a whole...
God wasn't speaking to Moses.
And not so. Not so. He said, no, not so.
Yeah, it says it wasn't.
No.
30 years didn't speak to him.
No. You want to review that? We can. 1 second. Not so.
30 years is...
No.
Really, the people really get mad then. He wasn't there for 30 days and he got mad. And he wasn't there for 30 years.
But Anana Kavod were there.
Not so, Yehuda. You're not saying right. It's a good thing you came today. It's a good thing you came. Let's go to the video text that Yehuda's bringing up over here. The book of Devarim. The book of Devarim. generation is where in the Torah? Where it says the whole generation made an end of dying. Baruch Hashem, I'm telling you. I took my spirulina, Baruch Hashem.
You
It's
remember
not
to
the
take
spirulina,
you
it's
remember,
God, but you have to go through the motions.
You remember to take the spirulina.
I remember to take the spirulina. Thank the
Where's
Lord.
Spirulina?
Thank the Lord.
Let's bring his name.
Page 544, Yehuda Lev's Kasha. All the answers are found where?
In the Torah.
In Rashi.
Oh,
But you gotta know where
to look.
to look. Page 544. 544, Pasuk Tez Zayin on the bottom.
Just a second.
Sped what?
Deuteronomy 2, 16 and 17. Hello. Deuteronomy 2, 16 and 17. See, thanks to you that we have a whole lesson now. You see that? Thanks to him, yeah. Now keep in mind, when the two psukim, the Torah next door, there has to be what?
It has to be related.
Very strong, not just related, intimately related. So keep in mind that bothering Rashi. Look at those two psukim. One second. Okay.
Allora, Deuteronomio 2, 16.
You see my
You don't leave it over there, Rabbi?
Oh, your bag?
Oh, my bag is
Yeah.
there. Took a walk. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Deuteronomio 2, 24.
No, Frank.
Is the same Italian and Spanish?
Frank, will you help me with a bag? Frank, will you take it wrong? I'll take the one in the toilet.
2.
Dos.
Whenever anybody says bag, I think.
Bag man. Okay, see that. Devarim 2, verse 15 and 16. Want to read that?
With love. He didn't speak. He spoke, but not with
Devarim
love.
2, 16 and 7. 16 and 7. Read it. You want to read it?
16, 17? 16, 17?
Yeah.
So it was that the man of war finished dying from amidst the people. Hashem spoke to me, saying, and 18?
No, just those two.
Okay.
So what's the connection between these two psukim? That's bothering Rashi. What's the connection between these two psukim? It was when the entire generation, the men of war, those people between 20 and 60, stopped dying, then God spoke to me. So implying that the entire time where the gzeira of death, the 38 years, look what Rashi says. Look at Rashi, Tez Zayin, Yud Zayin, left column on the bottom. Yikash shetamu veidaber Shem Elai. Only when the generation stopped dying, between 20 and 60, only then did God speak to me. You know, the left column. Amishaloyach hamaraglim. When Moshe sent the Meraglim, At kan lo nema veidaber. It doesn't say veidaber, ela vayomer. That God doesn't say veidaber, it says vayomer. Ulamdecha shekol shloishim mishmonim shana, shoyishon nezufim. The entire 38 years, when the Jewish people were out of favor with Hashem, when the decree of death, the generation 20 to 60 had to die, lo nisyachet imo hadibor beloshin chibah. Doesn't say God didn't speak to him. What Moses meant is lo nisyachet imo hadibor. God did not misyachet. How do you say yichud?
Oneness.
One did not.
You have a
Yichud room, Beloshin Chiba, with a lovey-dovey panim upon him, the Yishuv Hadas.
He didn't talk nice to me for 30 years, okay?
In other words, for those 38 years, Moses still communicated with God, but not in the same intimate lovey-dovey level as before. Lo nisyachet imo hadibur, Beloshin Chiba upon him, the Yishuv Hadas. Lamdecha she'ein hashchina shara al neviim elo b'shvil Yisrael. The Nevi'im get prophecy only on account of what? Israel. And if Israel's out of favor, so even holy Moses, who didn't sin, he didn't have the same lovey-dovey relationship with God the entire 38 years that the Jewish people had this decree of death on them in the midbar. So God did speak to him, but not b'lashon chiba upon him. God spoke to him like a regular Navi.
He spoke to him
Like a regular Navi, but not upon him.
Like an ex-wife, is that what he's saying?
No, like a regular Navi. Not upon him to upon him.
Through a text message instead of like going and knocking at his door. And
No,
having
like a
some
regular
tea,
Navi.
some pie and coffee.
I'll take that. What?
Just by halal?
Like the other
You know,
Navi.
having a pie and
Like the
coffee
other
conversation
Navi.
is much more intimate than having
A dream
text
or
message.
in a vision, in a trance.
Text message is less
In what
intimate than
circumstances-
pie and coffee.
I worked in an
What?
office.
But Rabbi,
My last job.
One sec.
There was
That's,
a big, cubicle,
17, right?
over 40 people in this office.
but he
And a
says
lot of
to
times I talked to
Aaron
other
and
people on the
Miriam,
other side of the
Banim
room.
and Banim.
I could have called them, but I didn't. I
Walk
walked
over
over
to-
and sit down. It just felt better.
Right.
They sit there and look across the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, what's going on?
You feel like a human being, not a machine. of
Yeah,
course.
right.
So God did speak to Gemara in Tainus. Rashi's not making it up.
What?
Tainus page 30. God, of course, did speak to Yehuda,
And I'm not
but
saying
not
the
in
email
the same
was just-
intimate, lovey-dovey way as face to face. He spoke to him like a regular Navi. When the generation died out, then lovey-dovey relationship what? Started again,
It
rejuvenated.
wasn't for very long. It was only for
38 years.
No,
Planning lunch.
it wasn't for very long.
Planning
It's
lunch.
not lovely. He died 2 years after that.
Okay,
But Rabbi,
so
It wasn't very long at the end.
what?
he says to Miriam and to Aaron,
Yeah.
אני מפנים דיברתי Moshe.
That's right. That was before the Chet HaMaraglim.
It was before the Chet HaMaraglim.
Yeah, Pashas Baloischa before the Chet HaMaraglim. Remember? Good point. The Pashas Chet HaMaraglim. And Rashi says, look at these Rishoyim. They saw what happened to Miriam when she spoke Lashon Hara, and yet it did not prevent them from what? Speaking Lashon Hara. So that episode happened before, good point, before the Chet HaMaraglim.
And then, so why did he have to be separated from his wife for 38 years if he wasn't speaking to him?
He was speaking to him, but as a Navi,
So it doesn't have to be on such a big call.
Okay.
You know? The whole thing is he doesn't on call.
maybe he was still on call all the time, but not Panim al Panim. Well, Tex-Mex, what's it called? The WhatsApp? WhatsApp?
What happened to the Meshkalah, to the Tabernacle during all this 58 years?
The Mishkan was there. The Mishkan was operating. The Mishkan was operating. It's an amazing pasuk in Tehillim. Those 40 years in the desert, it was the best of times and the worst. The paradox, the best of times and Panim el Panim, and yet, if you take a look at Psalm 106, we have a psalm here,
The old panim, the panim.
huh? The Midbar. Just incredible.
106?
You know what the Psalms are? No.
That's it.
I don't remember what verse. I gotta look at. I gotta see the physical book. Tehillim.
What does it say? Remember the...
No, I gotta see it inside. It's the long psalm, right? It's the longest psalm, the 106.
119.
109 is the
Oh,
longest.
that's long.
It's either
But this one's
106
pretty
or
long. This one
119.
is 48 verses.
Oh, you have a Tehillim? Oh, thank you, my dear friend. You see? Oh, wow. Tehillim 106.
Ladies are restless. Ladies are restless.
They throw each other through the door.
119 is the long one.
119 is long, yeah. But this is pretty, that's 48 verses. Yeah, it's all in there. Huh. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, these books are a little repair work.
Yeah, this one. This one was.
All those stone books, the stone,
Yeah,
Where they bound.
still got some life in it.
Hey,
It's the inside that counts.
yeah.
You read the psalm. You can read it, Rabbi. You mind reading it to us? This is a condemnation of the Dora Midbar. The whole psalm there. I'm looking for a specific verse.
One oh one? 101 we say?
106. It's a whole condemnation of the whole psalm of the Dora Midbar.
It's open?
What are you looking for?
Because this is the...
What are you looking for?
It says they ended their lives in Hevel. Can't find that verse. I think it's in 106. But I can't find it. They ended their life in Hevel. It says 106, but I can't find it. Ashay, I said.
It's broken.
Saving time again, and the living gorillas.
They despised the good land. They didn't believe his words. So, verse 24.
They grumbled, disobeyed the Lord. So they raised his hand and his oath to make them fall in the wilderness, dispersed among their hostile nations, scattered among the lands.
Can't find that verse, okay? But it's pretty. Okay. Anyway.
You told me to take your... you take it. And you close it, please.
Any other questions? Shall we do the Megillah or what? Shall we start the Megillah? Or too early?
No, why not?
We
A
can
little
start
bit
the
of the whole thing. The
What?
concept.
Ganze Megillah, right?
Remember the cartoon, Megillah Gorilla?
Megillah Gorilla, yeah. Megillah, all the 23 books of Tanakh are found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The only one not, Megillah Esther.
Why?
Because I guess the canon wasn't finalized yet, or she had to fight a way to get into it. They didn't want to accept her. Where's it? It's in the back of the book here. Megillah Esther. Yeah. on page 679, I think, in this book. Even Achashverosh, thank you. Thank you. Even Achashverosh. Achashverosh. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Who was Achashverosh? The son of what? Koresh. He was the successor to Koresh, right? There's a Parsi name. They named the kids Koresh. The Jews named their kids Koresh.
3 weeks.
3 weeks to perform. Okay. There's a good word here how God's name is not mentioned anywhere. It's the only book in Tanakh that God's name is not mentioned.
Melech.
But wherever it says HaMelech, it refers to the King of Kings. But his name is never mentioned in the book specifically. The question is why. Aster Panim, right? But if you take a look at this verse here, amazing word over here in the Megillah. Pasuk Yubet. So,
What chapter?
right in the beginning, chapter 1, verse 12.
Temayna Malka.
Temoina Malka Vashti Lavo. You have to know where to put the comma. Queen Vashti refused to come wearing a birthday suit, right? The Talmud says that he told her to come in a birthday suit. Rak beketer Amalchus.
God didn't want her to come.
Bidvar HaMelech. Why? She was such a tzenua. She was as immoral and corrupt as he was. Why didn't she want to come? Bidvar HaMelech. Because who? The king decreed to get the ball rolling, to get her knocked off, and to have Esther win the beauty contest. So therefore she refused to come, not because she was so modest. Bidvar HaMelech. You like that? It's all in the hands of God. God orchestrates all world events. We're just chess players playing with the Grand Master. You have to know where to put the commas, right? You have to know where to put the commas there. Bar HaMelech. Otherwise it makes no sense why she refused to come. She was run around Sue. She was, right? She was not modest at all. But Bidvar HaMelech, the King of Kings, orchestrated this event to get her out of the way, to have Esther come in, because God always puts the refuah before the makkah, right? God puts the refuah before the makkah. So before Haman became prime minister, Esther was already what? In place as the queen. Ish Yehudi. Take a look at page 680 Pasuk Hey. Ish Yehudi. Hoy Shushan Avira. Ish Yemini. He's Shevet Ben Yamin. Why is he called a Yehudi? 680 Pasuk Hey.
Yosef.
Ish Yehudi Hoy Shushan Avira. Shmoy Mordechai Ben Yor Ben Shimi Ish Yemini. So he comes from Shevet Ben Yamin, and yet he's called a Yehudi. Right? On page 680 Pasuk Hey. The Jews are called Yehudim here over and over again. The Jews are called Yehudim, right? Judah's only one tribe. Judah's only one tribe, right? And yet we're called Yehudim. Look at the bottom of 681. Vayos Melech Pasuk Yud. Vayos Melech has tabato me'al yodoi. V'yitno lahaman hagogi tzorer haYehudim. The enemy of the Yehudim. But I come from Shevet Yisachar, so I should be called Yisacharite, right? Should say Tzora Yisacharites.
You mean 691?
681 in my book. The bottom Yud.
691.
Peri Gimel Pasuk chapter 3 verse 10. The king took off his ring and he gave it to Haman, the enemy of the Yehudim. The enemy of the Yehudim. Alright?
There's a tie-in between this Esther and this week's parsha too.
Yeah.
Which is how much did Haman want to pay for the silver?
Yeah, that's why we give the Machzah Shekel. We beat Haman in his own game.
Yeah,
But
how
here's
much-
interesting
how
over
much
here.
was it that he gave you? The same amount as the whole Hefker said.
There's a Kree and a Ksiv here. Take a look at page 6. I have it page
The pages are
682.
different.
Different? Pages are different.
Pages are
So it's Perik Dalid, chapter 4, Pasuk Zion. Chapter 4, 7.
ויגד לו מרדכי,
Yeah.
בפרשת קראו, בית פרשת הכסף, אשר אמר המן, לשקול על גנזי המלך.
Yeah. Ginz HaMelech by Yehudim. By Yehudim Lavdam.
10,000 silver talents with their hands from this. So I gave.
By, look at the way Yehudim is spelled. There's a Kree and a Ksiv over here.
7.
Verse 7. 4, 7. See 4, 7 or you don't? There's a Kree and a Ksiv.
Not in this. Oh, yeah, they do have Yehudim. They have
It's
an extra-
spelled with an extra Yud.
Extra.
Ksiv by Yehudim, with an extra Yud.
2 years at the end.
Instead of 1. But it's read Yehudim. So what's the significance of that?
The way it's written, it sounds like, it looks like it should be pronounced Yehudim.
You don't
That's
abet
the way
the
it
name of
looks
God.
like, but it's,
Yeah.
that's not a word.
You don't annul the name of God.
So what do you mean?
Yeah.
So here it's spelled with 2 Yud, but the other times,
לעבדם, ליהודים,
by
לעבדם.
Yehudim Lavdam.
If it was 2 Yud,
Yeah.
it was לעבדם גם the 2 Yud.
Against HaMelech by Yehudim. Yeah. Lavdam. But the other times it's written with 1 Yud. Look at Pasuk Yud Gimel, the same chapter, 4:13. Look how it's written there. Vayomer Mordechai L'Osher L'Esther L'Atan Nashal HaMelech L'Kol HaYehudim. There it's written normally, right?
Yeah, right.
And look at Pasuk 14. Again, Yamoid La Yehudim. Lamoid La Yehudim. Again, written this normally. Only here it's written this way. When it comes to La'abdam, to destroy them, there it's written with 2 Yuds. And Rashi doesn't comment. You hear my question? Yud. What's the significance of that? And the Gemara doesn't comment either. By Yehudim La'abdam. But over and over again, they're all called Yehudim. They're called Yehudim Lech Kenois. That's called Yehudim. The Yehudim. Look what she says in chapter 4, verse 16. Lech Kenois es Kol Yehudim. Over and over again, we're all called Yehudim, even though it's only one tribe. There are 11 others. Chapter 4, verse 16. Lech Kenois es Kol Yehudim. B'tzumu alai val tochlu val tishtu. That's a very difficult verse because it seems to be redundant. How does the English translate that? 4:16.
Go assemble all the Jews to be found in Shushan and fast from me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days.
Stop it. I know what it means to fast. Does it mean to fast, Abiyaz, you stand on your head and you spit nickels? What does it mean to fast? How come she has to say, fast for me, and oh, by the way, don't what?
Eat or drink.
Well, gee, thanks. The Tzumu Alai. So Eliezer did a time Tanas Dibor. Maybe she thought, Tzumu Alai, fast for me, and don't eat and don't drink. You don't think it's redundant?
Mm-hmm.
There's different kind of fast, no?
Yeah, like your fast. With the oh, she says this type of fast, right? So Rachavechi gives another explanation. She says the Tzumu Alai, the purpose of a fast is Lasot Sama. Sadi Mem Hey in Hebrew means to braid together. Sadi Mem Hey. Sama means to tie and braid. The purpose of a fast is not to go on a diet. It's the Jewish people should feel each other's pain. If everybody's hungry and thirsty, we're all in the same boat. Esther was saying, Haman said the Jewish people are divided, divisive, they can't stand each other, they call each other names, lefties, righties. Bibi or Tibi, that's the new slogan. Bibi or Tibi. Ahmad Tibi. That's
He's the Arab member of the parliament.
So the Likud has a new slogan now.
Arab member of the parliament.
Either vote for Bibi or you're gonna get Tibi.
He did that last time too.
Yeah, but now it's really
He
He
found.
frightened everybody. and
He
said
made a
he
new
gave-
party.
Bibi become Tibi.
No, TB made a new party. Because there are two Arab parties.
So Rasaveitchik says that Tzumu Alai, it's not enough to not eat and drink. If you want to pass the fast to have a toyeles, then you have to lasait sama. One Jew must bind and bond with the other, braid together. If we have unity, wouldn't be afraid of Abu Mamzer or Haman. The problem with Haman is, look what Haman said. Haman said the Jews are vulnerable because, look what he says in chapter 3, verse 8. Chapter 3, verse 8, he says,
There are certain people scattered about and dispersed in all the peoples and all the
they're fractionalized people. What's the word? Fractious people? Mefuzah, meforad. They're cantankerous, they're fractious. They are in disarray. They're vulnerable. So Esther says, Lech kenoises kol haYehudim. Braid together, and this is our ammunition to fight Abu Mamzer and Haman.
Unity.
Unity. Psalm in Hebrew, Sadi Memhe means to braid together, to tie together. Reunited, and it feels so good. Amazing. She says, Esther, she says, she's going to the king voluntarily now, right? It's amazing how the Megillah goes out of her way not to mention God's name. It's just amazing with that. Esther 4, 7:14, 4:14. 4:14, the Megillah goes out of its way not to mention God's name, which is very strange. It's the only book in the Bible that doesn't have God's name, and it goes out of its way not to mention God's name. If you were writing the Megillah, Abiezer, how would you write it? Look at Esther 4:14. What does he say?
Some other place, you'd say from God.
For if you persist in
Who's you, Mordechai, speaking to Esther?
persist in keeping silent at a time like this, relief and deliverance will come to the Jews from some other place,
What does that mean?
while you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether it was just for such a time as this that you attained the royal position.
What do you think you won the beauty contest? You're the prettiest girl. There aren't prettier girls than you. What do you think you're in the palace for, Esther? But if you refuse to do it, there's got to be a plan B out there. So how come he doesn't mention God's name? He says, no, Reva B'Atzalah. Relief and Atzalah will come to the Jewish people in Mokom Acher.
Some other place.
Some other place. Gee, wonder that is. Why not say the big boss?
Well, all of it's a sham, just via
It's a
this
game.
one and this way.
It's a game, right? It's a masquerade. Don't you see? It's a masquerade. All of this physical life is a masquerade. Yeah.
Mordechai told her this.
What if I told her this, right?
So why can't you consider also her going voluntary
Yeah.
as an honest thing?
But like, look. So you look at verse 16.
Go assemble all the Jews to be found in Shushan,
Right.
and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I with my maids will fast also. Then I will go into the king, though it's unlawful, and if I perish, I perish.
What do you mean it's unlawful?
To go
I'm going to
without
commit
being
adultery
summoned.
voluntarily now. The Gemara in Megillah 15 says, until now I was taken against my will. But now, it wasn't my fault, but now I'm going in to make lovey-dovey with the king. I'm going against the Torah. I'm committing adultery. Achshav ani baratzon.
Yeah, but
עבירה צורך This was an עבירה נשמעת.
Rashi says over here, I am lost. Why 2 times?
בעולם הזה,
So this world and the next world, and Rashi says, I'm just like I'm a lost in my father's house, I'm also lost to you. Because until now, I was taken against my will. I can go back to you, my husband Mordechai. But now that I'm going voluntarily, a married woman that has sex with another man voluntarily is lost forever to her husband. Achshav ni baratzai, now I'm voluntarily going to have sex with him. Ani asur alach, I can no longer go back to you, Mordechai, my husband.
But it's adultery.
It's adultery. That's what she's saying. I'm lost.
Why can't we consider this
Yeah.
anus?
She's going voluntarily.
Okay.
I don't understand.
She was
why.
betrothed, or were they
No,
betrothed?
Mordechai and Esther were married. The Talmud Megillah 15 says that Mordechai and Esther were married. But now she's, up
Chuppah
until
and
now, she
everything.
was taken against her will.
Chuppah
She
and
can-
everything.
Yeah. So a woman, lo yaleinu, taken against the will, can still go back to hubby as long as hubby's not a Cohen. But once she does it voluntarily, she's totally lost forever. And that's what she's saying over here. I am lost for you, even when Achashverosh kicks the bucket, which he does shortly later, after this Purim, she can never go back to what?
To her original.
To her original husband.
Can she remarry?
She's a tragic heroine.
Oh.
She can marry somebody else, but she can never go back to Mordechai. She is a tragic heroine. Esh Yisol Shenenza, Yura. A married woman that's raped can go back to husband long as not a Kohen, but if she does it voluntarily, she's forbidden. Wow. So Mordechai was actually her husband. Tractate Megillah 15. That's pretty amazing.
Everybody raises the point. They said that it wasn't voluntarily. She was saving somebody's life.
But she did go.
She did go.
Didn't she go?
If a guy has your child by the neck, and
She
says,
went to seduce the king.
I'm going to kill your baby. Is that voluntary? It's not voluntary.
I'm with you. I don't understand it.
It's not voluntary. Not voluntary.
Yeah, I think she's.
You understand it?
She's a rock and a hard
I don't
spot.
understand.
She's caught between a rock and she's a tragic heroine. If little girls would know who Esther was, they'd never dress up to be Queen Esther. Little girls would dress up. They would never want to be. What a tragic life she led. Right? She couldn't go back to her husband. She had one son, Daryavush, who, Jewish by birth, didn't live like a Jew. He lived like a pagan.
But he was,
No
he
nachas.
was Achor's first son.
That's right, her son.
Yeah.
But he was Jewish because his mother was Jewish. So she's a real tragic heroine, Esther is.
Give the permission to build the temple.
He's the one who gave his mother permission to build a temple, right?
Adultery is forbidden, but infancy is not.
But this is incredible. She's a prophet of God.
Infancy is not.
You don't see a
Adultery is
steer
good.
here?
Why not infancy?
What do you mean?
That's just not playing with the word.
Mephibosheth the Malchus.
I'm playing with the word adult, infant.
Esther's one of the 7 prophets in Tanakh. A prophet of God committing adultery voluntarily. You don't see a problem here? Use some control.
I don't see.
She's a prophet of God committing adultery. And she doesn't lose her
I
prophecy.
don't see.
Yael wasn't a prophet.
She willingly
Wasn't a
went
prophet.
off.
Why?
Why did you do that?
Very problematic.
Why did she do that? Why did Esther go back to Achor's first?
Why did she go back?
Yeah.
What do you mean back? She goes to seduce him, to beg him to rescind the evil decree. Otherwise, the Jews would have been exterminated. Huh? Are you allowed to commit adultery to save a life? One of the 3 cardinal sins that you're not allowed to commit
Your own
adultery.
life. But what about someone else's life?
If you can't commit adultery to save your own life,
Much less somebody else.
are you allowed to commit adultery to save somebody else's life? So
Yeah.
it's very problematic what you did over here.
Maybe she did.
Ow.
Yeah.
She was married to Mordechai.
How long did it last in the story?
9 years
In other words,
from the beginning of the part. It looks like 45 minutes. But if you read the Megillah, it's played out over 9 years.
Depends on Chabad reads it. They read it in 18 minutes. They read the whole Megillah.
Well, that's the problem.
What do you mean?
34 minutes?
Chabad can,
If she
kids,
had-
I've seen kids read it in 18 minutes.
Well, that's why she did it.
Kids can read it in 18
That's
minutes.
what she did.
9 years. The Megillah plays out over 9 years.
But she did.
You can turn, make a Pesach.
You got to
You can make a
connect all
matzah
the
the time
dots.
that they read the
You got to connect all the dots.
Yeah.
She didn't take it. She didn't do it willingly.
But she,
That's the argument. Yeah.
That she didn't do it willingly.
What you do it willingly.
The Noida Yehuda has a tshuva. Remember I showed it to you last year? The Noida Yehuda has a tshuva. This happened in his time in the forests of Prague. Should I bring you the tshuva? Maybe we can learn it. Where this group of married couples were taking a hike in the woods around Prague. And all of a sudden they're surrounded by a group of robbers and murderers. And they want to kill them and rob them. One of the women there was a pretty woman, one of the couples, and she began to make eyes at the head of the robbers. She began to flirt with him. And he took her aside, and they had sex in the bushes. It's a married woman. And this way, all of their lives were spared. She wouldn't have done that, they all have been dead. So afterwards, husband comes with a shaila to the Rav. So the Rav paskin that what never she can never go. The husband must divorce her, even though she did an act of atzala. He said she acted like Esther. But the bottom line is that the husband must what? Divorce her. But she's a heroine like Esther. The Noida Yehuda strongly disagrees with this psak. Maybe I should bring you the tshuva. We can learn it together. He strongly disagrees. He says that committing adultery, one of 3 cardinal sins, if you can't save your own life, then you're not permitted to save anybody's life. They should have let themselves be killed rather than what she did. What about Esther? Esther's Ruach HaKodesh, she says. Esther was a Rod Shah. Don't try this at home. Esther was a Navi, and he acted. I'm not talking about Yael, we're talking about Esther, right? Yael's a separate problem, because Yael wasn't a Navi. So he's saying that Esther and Mordechai were Nevi'im, and they acted as a Rod Shah. But this woman in Prague in 1797 was wrong, because committing adultery is a sin that you have to not only let yourself be killed, but you can't save others that way. Esther was a special case. You know, a Navi can do Harad Shah. But don't try this at home. That's what he answered. He doesn't deal with Yael. Yael's a separate problem, because there, Yael was not a Navi. So how could she do what she did? She wasn't a Navi. She was a Shofetet, but she wasn't a Navi. So there, the Gemara just...
You need permission to save your own life?
What? It's the 3 cardinal sins that you can't use adultery like murder. You need to save your life. You can't. What does that mean? Nazir, page 3. I don't know what that means. The Sabbathians take that and they go to town with it. The whole twisted ideology of Shapsai Tzvi is based on that. What does that mean? An Avera Lishma, she did it Lishma. What does that mean, Lishma? She did it to save the Jewish people. But you're not allowed to commit adultery to save anybody. So, Yael is very problematic because she wasn't a Navi. But the Noida Yehuda only deals with Esther. He doesn't deal with Yael. You don't visit Yehuda, no?
No, I have to.
You busy this afternoon?
I just have to meet somebody to pay them.
So what?
I'll be home.
You gonna be home this afternoon? Can I pop in?
Yeah.
You be home?
Yes.
I can pop in a little later?
Yes.
Thank you.
What time?
Around 2-ish? 2-ish around? Thanks. 2-ish. So that's a big problem. How could Yael do what she did? But anyway, it's 3 cardinal sins that you're not allowed to commit at the cost even of life.
Who says?
What? Gemara Nazir, page 3. Referring to Yael.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't say it by Esther for some reason. Just, why didn't it say by Esther too? Didn't she do it Lishma? So why does Talmud only use that phrase by Yael and not by Esther? Gedoyla Ve'er Lishma Mi mitzvah shelo lishma. We have a Nazir here, but the books are buried here, man. The Nazir, I don't know. You want to look? I'm trying to find a needle in a haystack. Would you believe it? I have one. Would you believe it? You can't believe it.
Mikre.
I found one.
Mikre.
Number 14. I found another one. Would you believe it? The others are two. I can't believe it. Baruch Hashem. Praise the Lord for passing ammunition. Would you believe that? Build it and he will come. Okay. Nazir, page 3. I have any more. You want to look at you want to give him one? Nazir, page 3.
Page 3 or 3AV, 3AV? Yeah, let's see, 3A or 3A1.
Remember?
He's looking
I don't remember.
at some scrambled eggs.
I know it's in the beginning of Nazir. Maybe it's not page 3, but it's Page would be. I thought it's page 3, but it's page 4. I thought it was page 3. Maybe it's later on. Gotta look it up. Somewhere in the beginning here, which is Gedol Aver Lishma. Maybe the Google can find it. An Aver Lishma is greater than Mitzvah Shalal Lishma. Beginning of tractate Nazir. Is that enough to go on or not enough?
There's
No internet here?
I can check one. Let me check.
That a sin for God's sake is greater than a mitzvah not for God's sake. Beginning of Nazir.
A sin for what?
A sin. A sin for God's sake is greater than a mitzvah not for God's sake. For God's sake. Beginning of Masechta Nazir.
sin for God's sake
Yeah.
is greater
Than a mitzvah not for God's sake. How would they say lishma? For her sake. For the sake of God. Can't find it, sorry. I have to check more. Sorry, but it's the beginning of those here. Maybe we'll find it. We can learn it together. Why can't I find it? Hello. Google can find everything, no?
Have a good connection.
You have no Google.
Have no good connection.
Gedoy laver lishma. Mitzvah shalol lishma. You just Google that phrase and it won't come up. Gedoy laver lishma, mitzvah shalol lishma.
Nazir 23a.
Wow. Aren't you amazing? What?
Chorayot Tene. Does that sound right?
Nazir 23a, you said?
Does that sound right?
Nazir 23a, let's see.
The Babylonian Talmud attributes the idea of committing a transgression for the sake of God to Rabbi Nachman. B. Its statement appears in two parallel sugyot in the Babylonian Talmud, Nazir 23a and Chorayot.
You're amazing. You're amazing. Nazir 20. I said Nazir 3, but I meant 23. You're bueno, bueno.
I think B1.
I said 3. I was half right. Only took 2 spirulina. Should have taken 3. I said 3. I meant 23. Okay, guys. Nazir 23. Nazir 23. Wow.
Page 23, B1.
23a.
B1.
23a. 1 second.
אפילו שלא לשמה, שמתוך שלא לשמה בא לשמה. גדולה אמרה is B1, Rabbi.
23b1?
Yes.
23b1.
On the top right side. רבי נחמן בר יצחק.
Yeah. Nachon. Omer Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, 23b1. Where's it mentioned Yael though? Goyal aver lishma, mitzvah shalol lishma. Huh? Oh, we got it. 23b1. Bless your soul. Aviezer. 23b1 on the right side. The Gemara elaborates. Omer Rav Nachman Yitzchak. A transgression committed for the sake of God is greater than a mitzvah for ulterior motives. How do I know? The Gemara says that a person should always engage in Torah study, even shalol lishma, because when learning Torah will eventually lead to lishma, right? Ela ema mitzvah k'mitzvah shalol lishma.
I've heard this before.
Say instead of transgression committed for the sake of heaven, equal no greater than a mitzvah, right? 12. The Gemara now records, how do we know that? How do you know that you can commit a righteous transgression?
A righteous transgression?
A righteous transgression. What?
Didn't we say that road to hell is paved with good intentions?
23b1, my friend. The chsiv on the right side. It is written in reference to Yael. She seduced Arafat before giving him a splitting headache. She committed a righteous sin. How do you do a righteous sin? Hello? She will be blessed with the blessing bestowed upon the women. Well, Yael, the wife of Heber, she will be blessed with the blessing bestowed upon the women of the tent. Judges, right? Who are the women of the tent? Look at footnote 13. When Sisera, the PLO chief, fled from the battlefield upon defeat, he hid in the tent of a Jewish woman by the name of Yael. Jewish woman, as she slept, Yael gave him a headache number 9. The Gemara teaches below that what? 23b2 on the left side, the notes, that what?
Yael.
First engaged in what? Adulterous relations with Sisera. This was a transgression, yet since Yael committed it for the purpose of what? To weaken him, to make him a head shorter, the verse describes her as blessed. This proves Rav Nachman's claim that a sin committed for a righteous purpose is what?
Of
high value. Ooh. Top of 23b2. Our matriarch Sarah Rebecca. Wow. She's compared to what? To Sarah and Rivka, Rachel. The Gemara discloses the transgression Yael committed. How many times did she seduce him? How many times? 7. She must have taken a lot of Viagra. He must have a lot of Viagra. 7 acts of intercourse for Yael the time. Between her legs, he bent, he fell, he lay. Wow. How could she do that? See footnote 15, Aviezer.
The entire verse reads, between her legs he bent, he fell, he lay between her legs, he bent. Why
so graphic?
There he fell before.
Judges 5. So proving that they had sex many times. A married woman. What's going on over here? So what's the answer? She did it what? She did it for the sake of... I'm confused, no?
But
a righteous sin, hey?
We learned somewhere that she took pleasure.
The Gemara asked the question. The next Gemara. The Gemara raises difficulty. 23b2. The Gemara raises difficulty. 23b2 on the left side. The Gemara raises a difficulty. What's the difficulty? But she derived pleasure from the sex. So why does the verse praise her? Oh.
How do we know she did?
Look at note 16. Masters and Johnson.
What?
Oh, note 16. What?
Masters and what?
Women get pleasure from sex.
There's doctors in this.
Oh, okay.
40, 50 years.
Yeah, I remember this. I've heard this.
They were their husband and wife, masters and doctors.
See what's going on over here?
They would go to gynecologists, right?
How come the Gemara doesn't say this by Esther? Hello?
That's right.
I don't know why.
But then there is no number 18.
Yeah.
Esther couldn't get away with it.
Esther couldn't get away with
She
it?
got away with it.
So Yael did not derive pleasure from sister's intercourse because it polluted her. Therefore, her motives were purely righteous.
So what does it...
But so what? It's still a married woman and everything. So what?
We said before she took pleasure.
Yeah.